This is a 2007 Toyota Zace. Now in Taiwan and in Vietnam they called it the Zace. In Indonesia it was called the Kijang. Different markets, different name, always the same truck. Now before I go any further, the primary thing I want to tell you about this truck, the reason why I'm making this video, aside from the fact that I've wanted one for years and I finally have one, is that there seems to be very little information for public use on this truck because this truck was specifically marketed and sold for commercial use. This is a commercial truck. When I took this to the DMV, I was not allowed to register it as a private use vehicle. A normal person cannot buy and register this truck in Taiwan. You have to be a member of a union, you have to be in a certain type of industry, and you have to register it as a commercial vehicle. It's the only option. That's what it came from the factory for. That's what it's intended for. Now, this truck is probably the most reliable vehicle ever made. And the reason why I say that is because this is a 6th gen Toyota Helix. Now, I'm not saying that like, oh, they're pretty similar, or oh, they share one or two parts, or oh, you know, it's basically the same thing. What I mean is that the Toyota Helix, the 6th gen Toyota Helix, was available at a base model in 2-wheel drive. This is 2-wheel drive. It was available with the 7KE fuel-injected 4-cylinder 1.8 engine. This has the 7KE 1.8 liter 4-cylinder fuel-injected engine. The Toyota Helix base model had the G52 5-speed manual transmission. The same G52 5-speed manual transmission that's in this truck. The Toyota Helix was available with these 14-inch steel wheels with 185 R14C tires. Exactly what I have right here. The Toyota Helix had the 8-inch Toyota rear end. The same 8-inch rear end that's in this truck. The 2-wheel drive entry-level Toyota Helix had leaf springs in the rear, and despite being 2-wheel drive, it had torsion bar suspension in the front. The exact same leaf springs that are in the rear of this truck, and the exact same torsion bars that are in the front of this truck. If you go right down the line, the engine, the transmission, the drive shaft, the rear end, the leaf springs in the rear, the torsion bars in the front, the control arms, the steering linkage, the 14-inch steel wheels, the 185 R14C commercial tires, every single part of this truck, other than this cab, is a base model 2-wheel drive Toyota Helix. Now, that was sold to the general public, and then Toyota, because of its reliability, its robustness, and what people were using it for, especially in Asia and Australia, they realized that instead of having the Helix, which could, had a standard truck bed on it, and then you could pay for all these upgrades, they said, well, for commercial use, which the truck was very capable of, it would be more practical to have one of these utility beds. Now, these utility beds are very common on K trucks, and when you think of K truck, you think the small, little, like 600cc trucks. Those do exist in Taiwan, but Taiwan doesn't have the same strict regulations like the K regulations as Japan. So those little 600cc K trucks do exist in Taiwan, but basically all like purpose-built trucks in Asia, Taiwan especially, are that cab over style. And it doesn't matter if it has a 600cc engine or a 1-liter engine or a 1.8 or a 2.4, or you get the bigger ones like I use at work every day, which are the 3.5-ton trucks with diesel engines. They all have these utility-style beds. And if you're not familiar in your market, this utility bed is awesome because aside from the fact that it's a bed that has no wheel wells, it's above the tires, so the entire inner surface of the bed is flat and can be loaded the same, which obviously increases actual usability of the bed. It also has this rack behind the cab, which can be strapped to, tied to, lean things against. You lift these little latches here. Very simple design, and simplicity means reliability. Now the side lowers down, makes it easier to load things into the bed. It also means that you can lower both sides and the tailgate and have a completely flat bed for oversized loads. And because the bed itself sits completely above the rear wheels, aside from the fact that you don't have wheel wells to contend with, It also means they can really maximize the size of this bed. This bed is 163 centimeters wide, which is nearly 5.5 feet wide. It is 213 centimeters long, which is right around 7 feet, I believe. I have to do the math on it. It's around 7 feet. And of course, aside from the fact that it's nearly 5.5 feet wide and around 7 feet long with a completely flat surface that can be loaded evenly, and it also has this to strap things to. It also has these metal hooks all along the bottom to quickly hook ratchet straps to, so you can tie down loads much easier. And of course, you can lower the sides, lower the back, and turn it into a flatbed and put something even bigger on it. Also, instead of the regular Helix body, the cab, we're going to have this commercial cab. Now, some of the differences are that this rear window, as you see, is undersized. You see, in Asia, especially in Taiwan, all commercial vehicles have this same rear window. The reason why is, one, with the majority of the back being metal, it means if something inside the bed slides forward and hits the actual cab, it's less likely to break the window out. It also means that if the window does get broken out, something comes from the middle, hits that, they're all the same size. Now, there are some exceptions, but 9 out of 10 times, it doesn't matter what make, what model, what the engine size is, it doesn't matter. These rear windows in nearly every single commercial truck in Taiwan are the exact same size. They're available everywhere, they're in stock, they're cheap. It's just a basic flat piece of glass with curved corners. Very quickly, very easily swap these things out. So again, for commercial use, if it's less likely to break because it's smaller, and if it does break, it is cheap, easy, and fast to replace. Again, makes that durability factor go way up. Now, inside this truck is dead simple. They prioritized reliability and basically affordability. How can we make the truck, again, as reliable as possible, as easy to fix as possible if something does go wrong, and still keep the price low enough that companies don't mind filling out a fleet with these things, along with private individuals who own small businesses or farms or whatever else. So if you look at these doors, you probably can't see it with my leg in the way. I'll do some B-roll, but it's just a basic flat door panel. Very simple little latch here to open the door, close the door. One simple small plastic handle to close the door. Just the basic plastic hand crank window, both doors. It does have air conditioning, which is kind of an absolute non-negotiable in Taiwan. Even right now, it's Taiwanese summer. The heat's coming through the windshield. I've been sitting here for less than a minute. I'm starting to feel hot. But it does have air conditioning, but there's basically nothing else. It's got the stock factory radio, which has a tape deck and nothing else. It's got a speedometer, but no tachometer. It's got a fuel gauge, temperature gauge, and of course it does have lights that'll come on, like a check engine light if need be, but in a truck like this, you'll probably never see a check engine light. You've got the handbrake right here, 5-speed transmission here, which is the same G52 5-speed transmission that was used in the Toyota Helix. Like I said, under this cab, you basically have a Toyota Helix. That's what it is. This blue shell that you're sitting in, you take this off, it's a Toyota Helix. So fires right up. This thing has over 300,000 kilometers on it. Still fires right up like it's a new truck. It's never had an engine rebuild, nothing like that. It's just a very reliable design, go figure, old Toyota Helix. So, and by the way, I know some people say Hilux, I say Helix. I don't know. What country are you from? What accent do you have? It's a Toyota truck, but now the gearing for this truck prioritizes low-end power over top speed, which again, being that it's a work truck, it's meant for commercial use. It has a 1-ton carrying capacity, and this is Taiwan. Even the flat suburban areas have small hills and slopes and everything else, and then half of the island is covered in mountains. So many people's communities, businesses are up in the mountains or down by the beaches. So flooding is common, very, very common during typhoon season, which we are technically currently in. It's only just recently dried up, which is why I'm now making the video. But during typhoon season, all sorts of places flood. I mean, it is a common, regular thing. Streets will be washed out, places will be flooded. So whether it's a washed out road, it's a flooded road, or it's just a nice bright sunny day, but you have to go up into the mountains, having that low end power to just crawl along or to crawl up a very steep incline, even with weight in the bed, is very important. So the rear end ratio, the rear differential on most of these Zace trucks from the factory that were meant for commercial use, they have a 430-to-1 rear end. However, if a company was purchasing this truck and they knew that basically everything they were doing was going to be maxing out that bed capacity, and they also know they're going to be doing work in the mountains, basically they know they are demanding the most of this truck, both in what they are carrying in the bed as well as the steep inclines. It was also an option that these could be equipped with a 456 rear end. So with actually, let's get going here. With flat ground like this is a slight uphill incline, but not much. It's basically flat and there's no weight in the bed, so we take off in second gear. Don't need to rev it very much, it just takes right off. The gearing puts us in quite a mechanical advantage. Now this, again, over 300,000 kilometers, but it's smooth like a new vehicle. If I let go of the steering, it drives straight down the road, no wiggling, no slop. When I want to shift gears, it's very tight, precisely where it needs to be. The steering is tight, the brakes stops very, very well, even with a full load. Handling is good. It is just a very nice old school truck experience when you drive these. You know, I grew up in the States where we didn't have these trucks, but my very first vehicle ever, when I first started driving, I was 15 when I got it, and it was a $500 truck that we got from a junkyard, and me and my dad fixed it up, and I started driving it when I got my license. It was an old 87 Chevy S10. It had the 2.5 liter Iron Duke 4-cylinder. It was a single cab, long bed, 2-wheel drive, and I absolutely loved that truck. But I remember the feeling of driving that vehicle. Just an old school, basic truck. Later, I've actually owned probably over 50 vehicles in my life. I went through a phase there in the States where I was all about Craigslist. I was always buying, selling, trading. Oh, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to try that out. But I mostly owned trucks. After trucks, the second place would be a lot of SUVs. And finally, I had a few cars. But mostly trucks, and I preferred old school trucks. I've had Dodge, I've had Ford, I've had Chevy, I've had a couple of Toyotas, and I was just nostalgic for an old, simple, basic, like, it's a truck. It's not a minivan, it's not this glamorous 4-door SUV with a tiny little bed attached to the back like all these modern trucks are. It was an actual truck, just a truck. You get in, single cab, maybe an extended cab, but I'm partial to the single cab. And you get in and it's a truck. The way you sit, the visibility through the windows, the gearing, the simplicity, the big open bed that you can just toss things in. I loved it and I missed it. Of course, finding an old F-150 or an old Chevy Silverado in Taiwan is nearly impossible. But this is the next best thing. But what's funny, again, is that this is like a hidden gem. Nobody realizes, nobody knows that these are actually underneath just Toyota Helixes. That's what this is. This is the you're never gonna kill it, ultimate reliability, just basic truck. If you want to haul your friends around, this ain't it. If you want to impress somebody with your high-end, sweet, brand new truck, this ain't it. If you want something that is ultra rare and nobody can get a hold of it, oh my God, where'd you find that? This ain't it. It's a Toyota Helix that was specifically meant for commercial use. So they put a different cab on it. They called it the Zace, and these are everywhere. If you want the reliability, the simplicity, the bulletproof nature of a Helix, but you notice that those 6th gen Helixes are getting harder and harder to find, and when you do find them, the prices are just ridiculously high. This is your best bet. But with 90 horsepower and 110 foot-pounds of torque, that torque typically hitting that sweet spot around 3,000 RPM or a little bit lower, then the gearing of that G52 transmission, and then a 430 or a 456 rear end, two-wheel drive. These things just pull, they just work. I mean, it is a very usable truck, and it's a very nice experience to drive. Every time I drive this truck, I'm happy. You can buy one of these right now. If you don't care about it looking like an old farm truck, just like a beat up basic truck, you can buy one of these for $2,000 all day long. All over Facebook Marketplace, $2,000 right there. This one is in especially good condition. This was purchased brand new by a very wealthy guy. He owns a huge hot pot franchise here in Taiwan. He purchased this brand new in 2007. He put over 300,000 kilometers on it, or at least his delivery drivers did. Always maintained it properly, always had the maintenance done. Anytime something went out, they fixed it. It was very well taken care of. So all the paint is fresh. Under the hood, the engine bay is very, very clean. The underside is completely rust free. The bed looks like a brand new bed. Everything is clean and exquisite. There's no cracks in the dash. No rips in the seats. I mean, the floor, everything looks like a new truck, and it drives like a new truck. It's basically like a brand new Zace. It just technically has over 300,000 kilometers, and I paid $4,000 for it. I was looking at modern trucks. I was looking at brand new Toyotas, and they all just kind of look like SUVs with an open top trunk attached to it. I mean, these huge cabs, tiny little beds, just it's not all sorts of electronics. I'm like, I want a truck to pick up steel and equipment. Like, I want a truck to be a truck. I looked at the Fords. Again, they look like four-door SUVs with a tiny little butt attached. You know, oh, you can toss a pack of chips back there. All the trucks these days are really bad at being trucks. They don't make very good trucks anymore, and they're also unbelievably expensive. You think you were buying your first house, or you were buying a sports car. These things are so often they're like an entry-level price of $60,000 US, or again, depending on what market you're in, if you had to import it, it's over $100,000 US, and it sucks as an actual truck, and the reliability is down, and the repairability is down. Like, it seems like a nightmare if you're like me, just an old school truck guy. I sit in this, and there's this warm, fuzzy feeling of like, yes, thank God, it's an actual truck. It's a real truck. It's a joy to drive. I can't get enough of it. I can't say enough about it. No matter where you're from, if you're in need of an actual truck, can't beat this. If you're just in need for old school nostalgia, can't beat this. If you don't even need a truck, you just need something that's reliable. God, what can I get that's old school, bulletproof reliability, but it's not going to cost me $10,000 used because secondhand prices have gone crazy? Well, this is it. You can buy these cheap all day long because nobody knows what it is, and you're going to be hard pressed to find a more reliable vehicle. Anyway, I've talked enough. This video is long enough. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you later.